And welcome everybody. Situated here for show. Glad you're here.
Howdy.
Noon.
Hey, Don, can you confirm you can hear me okay now?
Yep,
Thank you, sir.
can indeed. All righty. Before we continue, any questions? Any at all? Okay.
Thank you for your link on for the additional classes.
I'm sorry, say it again.
Sorry, thank you for your link on the Q&A class.
Oh, okay. No problem.
Appreciate that.
I did go look at the all-in-one SEO, but realized it is only for
WordPress.
WordPress. But I thought you had said at some point that they were discussing offering it elsewhere too. Was I imagining
There's
that?
a discussion, but I don't know if they've come through with it.
Okay.
I do want to take a quick survey. Who signed up for the extra classes? I know Dan Splint did.
So you're doing the all
Yeah.
right on there, right?
How you signed up,
All
Don?
together.
Yep. Who else signed up for the extra classes?
I'm planning.
I signed up.
Terry?
Yes, I signed up.
Okay. And Rob?
But I won't be able to attend because I'll be driving then. So
Okay. Well, we will, we're going to do some portfolio reviews. Okay. So when you have time, let me know and we'll get your portfolio review.
that would be great. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, not a problem.
How do you want?
Love to do it, but the scheduling is just the timing is just wrong for me. For the Saturday class at least.
There's a Saturday and a Monday.
Yeah, I can't attend the Saturday. That's the whole issue.
Okay.
How do you want us to prep a portfolio kind of exchange with you or?
I'll send you an email for that.
Okay.
So I have Dan, Terry, and Rob. Those are the folks.
Yes.
Okay.
Jerry said she's gonna be driving.
Yeah.
And I'll follow your link after the class. I'll follow your link and finalize that.
Not a problem. Not a problem. I just wanted to get a handle on how many people and what to expect and what to prepare. All right. Very good. Oh, where is it? There we go. Okay. We get up into presentation. There you go. It's just taking a moment to launch. Did it launch over here? Where'd it go? Uh-oh. Hang with me, guys. Oh, here it is. Thank you. Took a little bit of moment there for the Mac to find it, I guess. Okay, we're going to go over this one first. We're going to go over a couple of rules that I believe in and follow, just sort of overall business rules that work for most all of us if we follow them. Especially in this crazy business, it can be very, very difficult. Okay, business basics, not your business basics from business school, but sort of from 40 years of doing this stuff. What do we have to do? In this crazy type of business, a freelancer, one of the things that happens, you get on this roller coaster. How many of you have experienced it? You get a lot of work, then you don't get any work. Then you get a lot of work, and you don't get any work. And it's really, really hard. It's hard on your finances. It's hard for you to plan anything. It's hard on your family. You're always sort of feast or famine. And if you're not careful during the feast, you don't have anything left for the famine. So it can be really scary. So one of the things that we want to do is to level it out, just smooth it out. The number one thing you can do for that is marketing, and we'll get to that, but it's the number one thing to have happen. So to create those things. One of the things that happens with photographers so often is gear acquisition syndrome. If you're not familiar with it, I can tell you some stories. Don't buy anything you don't need. And when I say need, I mean need. You need this thing. If you're an architectural photographer, you need a tilt shift lens. I mean, it's not a toy. You need it. If you're someone who is a portrait photographer, you probably don't need a tilt shift lens unless it's part of a special technique that you're using for portraits. But for those people who are specializing in portraiture and you get a job and they want you to do a couple of interiors of this person's house that you're shooting with, rent it. Don't buy it. Don't spend the money. I've seen so many people have so much money sitting around in their office or in their studio, so much valuable money that could be spent towards something else, just sitting there because they had to have that gear. The romance of what we do is the strongest destroyer of possibilities. Photographers romance everything about their business. We read about gear. We read about photographers. I've always been fascinated how many people will watch behind the scenes videos of like a fashion shoot, and they'll have 25 minutes of the makeup artist putting eyebrows on some girl, and the photographer just watch it. Or so many times you see these videos and the photographers are out, they have a camera on them and they hold the camera up and they do this and then they hold the camera. It's like fascinated. We're romanticized by it. Don't be romanticized by that part of the business. Be romanticized about the work that you create and the business and fortune you create from it. Otherwise, it's a very expensive hobby. It ties up your capital for one thing. I knew a guy who, a talented photographer, who decided that he needed a Hasselblad system, and he sold his stuff and he took out a loan and he got a Hasselblad system. In those days, this was mid 80s, late 80s maybe. He got
nice
a Hasselblad
pilot
system.
change.
What's that?
Nice pilot change.
About $40,000.
Yeah.
About 40 grand in Hasselblad equipment. 2 bodies, bunch of lenses, bunch of backs, about $40,000. He now had a Hasselblad system. Did he make any more money? No, but he had a hell of a monthly payment to come up with. Doesn't make sense. Rent what you need and watch out for those hidden costs. If you're not insured and you're going on location, scary. I'll tell you this, I would bet that nothing would ever happen to you. I would bet that. I'd bet on it. But if I'm wrong, you could pay an awful price for not being insured. Liability insurance is just not that much money. It just isn't.
Hey, Don,
Yeah, go ahead.
do people ever question as to why you're charging them the cost of a rental, for example, or asking, why don't you own that? Why am I paying to rent something?
Well, only if it's something that you should have. We talked about this earlier. You'll hear it in the video. If you're in New York, San Francisco, LA, maybe Dallas and Miami, Chicago, probably, a lot of people get along very well. They get along very well renting their gear. It's not a big problem. But you get in a problem in smaller towns if you have to rent the stuff you should have. There's stuff you should have, right? You should have a camera, you should have a couple lenses. You shouldn't have to have a 300 millimeter f2.8. You don't have to have a medium format camera if it calls for it. Your basic gear, a couple of lights, cameras and stuff, great. If you have to rent anything that is called esoteric, don't do it. It's not worth it. So, and no, the clients don't complain. They only complain in the smaller towns if you try to rent all of your gear to them. So, back. Oh, I wonder why it doesn't do that. Bad office habits. Don't lose your receipts. Don't miss appointments. Incomplete calendars, sloppy record keeping, too many distractions. These are things that will make your life more miserable than you can think of. Missing appointments is terrible because you miss it, then you realize, wow, what are you going to do? How are you going to make this up? You missed an appointment. Keep as meticulous an office as you possibly can, because the clutter and the disorder will make you crazy. I know, I've been there. I've had offices that were absolutely indecipherable. Don't do that. Don't be that person. You'll pay for it. Now, watch out for distractions too. Distractions can be a real problem. FreshBooks is a good program for a lot of people. You can keep everything on it. I found that for the kind of business that I always did, FreshBooks and QuickBooks and those kinds of things were overkill. Just a lot of overkill. Most of my work was pretty simply done, and I just kept it in a ledger. But I can see with some people, if you're doing a lot of little shoots, makes a big difference. Keep your calendars up to date. That's one's on the wall so you can look at it and see it. One in your hand, one on your computer, phone, whatever. I use a paper calendar that I carry in my pocket. I use a month, a year-long thing that I just keep everything in, as well as on the computer. Review everything. Review your month to date. At the end of every month, review. Did you make any money this month? How much went out, et cetera, et cetera. All of that review is really important to understand that you're running a business. Without it, again, it ends up being a hobby that you'll eventually pay for at some point. I don't have to tell you this, be early for all appointments. For me, 10 minutes early is late. So be early. Always, always. Distractions, everything, we have distractions galore on our phones now. I would tell you honestly that I turn all my notifications off. I don't want to know when someone Facebooked me. I don't want to know when someone sends me a text. I have other things to do. I'll check those later. They call me, great. But we also have the ability to put our phone on airplane mode while we're working and not get those calls. People are used to leaving voicemails. Yep. So, and the last thing is your office is an extension of your habits, an extension of your work habits, the way you do things. And sometimes it goes without saying that the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. So if your office is a mess, it can be a problem. Email. We check our email all the time. According to some statistics, people check their email every 20 minutes. Some people do. Some people more than that. I don't. I check my email in the morning. I check my email about 11:30, and I check my email about 2:30 or 3. That's checking it. It may pop up on a window here, but it's checking it. I don't believe email is supposed to be something that I need to check all the time. If you are working with clients, use something like, and you really want to get, if the client needs you, you need to respond. Use something like Slack or something like that. Stay out of email because it'll get you.
There's another way too to deal with that. If you create a mailbox alias and have that be the only one that does notifications to your
Yes.
phone, that's another way.
Yeah, you can do an alias. You can do a
you can still get sucked in, but at least you don't get a notification to check your mail unless there's something in there.
Right. Return your email promptly. a photographer friend of mine missed out on a huge job because he didn't return. He went somewhere, didn't check his email for a couple of days, missed out on a big job. If someone emails you, get back to them as soon as you possibly can. I know it sounds like, oh, well, gosh, everybody knows that. No, they don't. I'm just putting that little bug in your ear. If you don't have a footer or a signature on your email, make sure you have one. I mentioned the other, someone sent me an email to call them and they didn't put their phone number on it. Put your phone number on your email. I use a signature program. It's a little, I think I paid $20 a year for it. And it puts a signature at the bottom of every email. When I send it out, everything's there. My website, my phone number, a little picture of me, everything. That signature is really, really important. Never send an email without a subject line, especially to a client. Absolutely, especially to a client. Never send it without a subject line. If you're including images, don't link to big images. Your images should be no bigger than 800 by 1200 ever in an email. And when you're making and you're saving them, use the Save for Web in Photoshop or export JPEG in Lightroom and bring the size down. It's already an email. It doesn't have to be a giant, super sharp, super colorful, whatever. That's not going to work. They're in their email. If they're going to sit there and wait 30 seconds for an email to download because you've attached a giant image to it, that's a problem. If you can use a graphically interesting email, I would say do that. I'll share it with you when I'm off the presentation here. I use something called Flash Issue, and I use Google Mail, Gmail. It is available for Gmail, and it's free or $5 a year. Something it's dirt cheap, and you can do that. If you're using Google Business, you can actually make a graphical email in Google Business. Google will let you make a nice looking, very cool little email template for free if you're doing Google Business. Don't send anything over 3 paragraphs. If you can absolutely, now if you're sending a contract, I'm not talking about that, but I'm saying in a little email thing, 3, maybe 4 max. Keep it fast, keep it really quick, get to the point. And use recap emails every time you're working with a job. I have a call, I hang up, I made notes, I take those notes and I send an email back. Hey, Rob, great talking to you today. Here's what we discussed, and here's my solutions or whatever. But I'll go back over what we agreed to and discussed in that email, because if I got it wrong, now's the time to find out. And if he got it wrong, now's the time for him to know. So those recap emails are really, really important. Yeah, Wise Stamp. There we go. It's a little plug-in for Gmail. I use Gmail, and if you're in Outlook, it already has it built in. You can go to and create a little footer or a signature. So all these are live on my thing. Even the Tumblr, because God knows we use Tumblr a lot. This is a Flash Issue email, a little graphic at the top and nicely formatted text. That's a Flash Issue. I'll share that a little more with you there. And be as meticulous with everything as you can.
What does issue actually accomplish for you?
I'm sorry, what's that?
What does Flash Issue actually accomplish for you?
I'll show you what you can do with it.
Okay.
It sends a graphical. In other words, this isn't it doesn't look like a Gmail what you stuck an image at the top. Okay. You can format it, make an email with format. Be as meticulous about everything as you can. I never dropped off prints in a crappy envelope. I never did any of those things. I tried to make every single thing I did feel like an artist or a craftsman was involved. Prints would be in envelopes with mine already printed. In those days, you'd get your envelopes printed at the printing shop. Today we could just run them through the inkjet printer, but they were printed. When I was doing, remember, I don't know, probably Robert does, imagine Billy does, probably a couple of folks here, remember CDs. Everything was on CDs and then DVDs. We had CDs and DVDs printed up with our stuff on it. So when we sent it out, that CD or that DVD had imprinted, not one of those labels that you stuck on. It was actually printed, imprinted on there. Who we were, all that, rights. We had rights A, B, and C, so they could go and access them. That was on every CD. Every time you are meticulous, your client's going to know it. Very deliberate. You're going to be asked for stuff, bios, photographs, a client list. If I asked you for a client list right now, how many of you could push send and send me a client list in 30 seconds? You see, that's a problem.
I
I
can.
could, but I'd have to take a picture of it.
Robert, you could?
Yes.
Good. Good. Get your client list in order. You should have access to it. We had cut it, paste in the email, and get on with it.
How do you those of you who have several, have a difficult time managing quantity of clients, how do you manage them? Or is that something we'll talk about later? Like CRM systems or spreadsheets, or what do you do to keep your client lists tidy?
I use a CRM, rather inexpensive. It's called One Page,
Okay.
and it will keep a track of each of the clients, but then also allows you to put in next actions and track the actions, and you can do emails through there and stuff like that. So
Okay. And you like it?
I like it a lot.
Yep.
Okay.
A lot of people are using Notion. And then, if you're looking at a CRM solution, you want a simple one, because some of those things like Salesforce and stuff, they're way out of what we need.
Yeah.
It's really, really crazy.
Some of them, they're for big organizations.
Yeah.
And
Keep it really simple and manageable. I've heard a lot about One Page. I don't know. I don't have it, so I have never played with it. I don't know how good it is. Robert likes it, so that's pretty good. A lot, like I said, a lot of people are using Notion. Some people are using Rome Research, etc.
But in Notion, you have to manually put the information in compared to, for example, if you're using the free HubSpot, you don't have to go back and you email, let's say.
That's
10
right.
clients.
HubSpot has one free. It comes free with you can only put in a couple of hundred names, etc. But for most of you guys, most of us, a couple hundred names is going to be fine. So,
because what is actually isn't Notion similar to what's it called? Evernote? Is it similar to Evernote?
it does some of the same things, but there's different things you can do with it.
Okay.
And if you use Notion with Zapier, you can create a lot of little zaps that'll do the same thing, fill out a database, send this email, that type of thing. But it'd be better to have it in one spot. HubSpot, I would definitely tell all of you to look into HubSpot. If you're using MailChimp has CRM built into it as well as a CRM program, but it's really tied to the mailing that you're doing, you're emailing. And of course, your clients.
It's free for the first 500 content.
MailChimp?
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
pretty easy to get going.
Yeah, there's a few things it won't do. It won't do, well, the things it won't do doesn't matter. But that only matters if you're doing an email business. Can I tell you about backup? Backup? Oh God, backup. I hope none of you guys are not backed up. I'm on Apple, so I use whatever the Apple name is. I have
Time Machine?
storage, Time Machine, an Array, and I also have Amazon Photos. All my photos are backed up on Amazon, so everything's there. It's all there. It's backed up. Measure twice, cut once, and be more professional than your competition if you can. Don't be railroaded by bad business practices.
I'm curious if anybody has a backup, to cloud solution that they love.
You mean the what's it called, like Backblaze and
What,
those?
well, you're using Amazon cloud storage, I guess,
Yeah.
Don. And I've not found anything that I liked enough to use. So right now I'm fine unless there's a fire.
Yeah.
I got my stuff in 3 different solid state storage units, but
You
if there's
have
a fire,
you
I'm
have
done.
Amazon Prime?
I do.
Then you already
Yeah.
have it. All you have to do is hook your picture folder up to Amazon Prime, and they'll do it for you. That's it.
Okay.
There's no
I'll
cost
look at that.
involved or anything, and they'll take raw files, the whole.
Really?
Yeah,
No cost?
no cost. It's part of Prime. I mean, if
Wow,
you end up
okay.
with, I think they give you like 2 gigs or 3 gigs. If you have more than that, you're going to pay a little bit. But
I do have more, but it's okay.
Amazon has AI now, so you can type in motorcycle, and it'll pull back all the motorcycle shots you photographed, whether you tag them
Great.
or not.
Crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
That could be a real nice thing. I'll look at it. Thank you.
Yep. By the way, Google does the same thing. You have to pay a little more for raw files, but Google do the same thing and has the same AI. All right, so that's just sort of a little overview of business habits that I believe in. I want us to think like a business person now. So that's what we're going to look at, because we are in business. It's a delightful business. It's terrific. I got to meet Muhammad Ali doing this business. I got to meet the woman who mapped the human genome. I got to meet some really astounding people. I photographed the very first cell phone for Motorola. I had to sign an NDA. It was in a briefcase. It was a phone in a briefcase that you took it in your car and you plugged it in to keep the battery charged. And it was probably $3 million unit there to create that unit. Totally worthless because there were no other cell phones. So, what can you do? But I photographed that for the Motorola campaign. I was in at the beginning. We did a helicopter shot, a guy in a car, and some safety people using this phone, which looked like a great big brick that was coiled into I think it was a mobile. I won't say cell phone. It was a mobile phone. So I had a blast in this business, but it can also wear you down if you don't think like a business person. It is a business. We're in business to make a profit. I'm always surprised when I meet photographers who will say disparaging things about capitalism, or those people have money. Well, yeah, that's why we're in photography. If you're in photography to not make money, then it's a hobby or an art. That's fine. But I think most artists would like to make money too. Why do we shy away from that? Why can we talk about everything with our client except how much stuff costs? Like we're almost embarrassed. Well, I'll have to sort of, charge you for this, Screw that. We're in business to make money. We can't be in business if we don't make money. The profit is not how much you make. It's how much you're left over after you pay yourself. I want to say that again. When you have a business, you pay for your parts, your cameras, your supplies, your electricity, etc., and you pay yourself a salary. If at the end of the year you've paid all your bills and you've paid your salary at $35,000 a year or $75,000 a year, I don't care what it is, you've paid your salary and there's $8,000 left over, that's your profit. If you start thinking of your salary as your profit, you'll never go anywhere because you'll just be content or whatever with that money, and you'll be missing the point. Cut yourself a check every 2 weeks if that's what you want to do. But make sure at the end of the year you make money. What does it take to think like a business person? We have to understand how business works. We have to understand supply and demand. If there's an oversupply, then the demand is low. We can get it anywhere. If the supply is in short quantity, then it costs more.
We are in a custom business.
We're in a custom business, and we should treat it like a custom business. Billy, you're absolutely right. We're not a sink stopper company. We're not a toner cartridge company. We're a company that makes something specific, and yet photographers act as though we're in the canned peas business. How do we make money as a photographer? We supply our customers with a solution. If you say we make photographs, you're limiting yourself. We supply a solution to our customers. 9 times out of 10, it's a photograph, but a solution is what they're looking for. How many of you have ever referred a client to another, or referred a photographer to a client, or vice versa, so that they could get done what they needed because you couldn't do it? That's being a photographer too. Helping your client get what they need. What do our clients want? A lot of people think, oh, they want photographs. No, that's part of it. But what they want is a professional. What they want is to feel good about working with you. What they want is the solution to their problem. That's part of that non-romanticizing what we do and understanding that we are in business to provide that solution. You can be romantic about your art photography. That's great. I love that. But about this, we're a business. And if you don't understand financial discipline, yeah, Billy.
We create a visual solution, a solution that has not existed previously. Therefore, the customization side of it.
Well, yeah. In some cases we're just repeating what they had. It's very utilitarian. But in some cases, we are trying to come up with something new. Whatever we're doing, we're trying to help their bottom line, right? Absolutely.
Yes.
So as a self-employed entrepreneur, I'm talking to folks who have done it for a while here. So I know you understand that if you make $50,000 on your first job in January, you better be real careful with that money, because the next job might be a ways out. You're not now in the $50,000 a month range, although in the social media craze, I guess you could write a book, How I Make $50,000 a Month, and sell it because you actually did 1 month. An understanding of our own self-worth and how we can project that to clients. Photographers are notorious for knocking themselves and knocking their profession in front of their clients and bringing down other people. I didn't see it in the illustration world. I don't see it as much in the graphic design world, but I'll watch photographers just drop to the lowest common denominator. Got understand a lot in this business. There's a thing out there called the CODB calculator. How many of you know the CODB, cost of doing business? And I see photographer after photographer saying, you've got to do a CODB. And I think it's a good idea to do a CODB, cost of doing business. How much does your rent cost? How much is your car payment? How much do you need for gas? You got to put that in row A. And that'll tell you how much money you need to break even. Just break even.
And that was more useful too when shooting film, because it was such a big, line item.
It was, but it was all. It was also. It's also designed for those people creating a product, a hard product, because what they'll say is, okay, to make this much money, how much of your product do you have to sell each day? And you can say, well, I need to sell 25 quarts of strawberry jam each day to break even. So I need to sell 35 so that I can pay myself, and 45 so that I can have a product. That's great, because your jam sells for $14 a bottle or whatever it is every time, and you can figure that out. The cost of doing business, knowing that number is important, but that number means nothing to what we sell. That's like a headshot photographer saying, well, I've got to do 30 headshots this month. How do you manage that? If you have jars of jelly, you could sell them. How do you sell headshots? You could try, you can market and everything, but you can't make somebody come and do that. So it becomes, and also let's talk about the headshots. Is that really what we want to do? Because here's a headshot right here. There's a headshot. The model is the client. This is Chloe. She came to our studio and said, I need a headshot for my book. And we photographed it. In pretty much every town in America, this is between about $150 and $300. Would you all agree? Anybody know people getting more? And not that Hurley clown. Anybody else?
No.
Yeah, that's about it, right? 150 to 300. And she's in the industry, so model, right? Here's Chloe. We got the same makeup artist and the same hairstylist and Chloe, but now we're shooting for Maybelline. It's the same girl, same makeup artist, same hair, same light. Do you think we're going to sell it to Maybelline for $150? No. Probably going to be more between 15,000 and 60,000, depending on what their ad buy with it is. An international buyout for this, an international buyout would be somewhere between $60,000 and $80,000. But it's the same picture. How can that be? It's the same girl. It's the same hair. It's the same everything. We retouched it the same. How can that be? Because the value is greater for Maybelline than it was for the model. The value of what we sell is intrinsic in the use of what we sell. And we're not the only people who do this. There are other people who do it. You have to understand the market. If you shoot a hotel lobby for the Ritz or some big hotel chain, you're going to charge more than if you go and shoot the lobby for Bob's, Bass House, where people come and go fishing on the river. He's got a real cool lobby with some deer heads and stuff. You're going to charge him less than you're going to charge that big hotel chain. The value is less. That's what we have to do. That's the tricky part. There's no book on that. There's no calculator on that. You just have to do your research. What is it worth? What's your minimum pricing? How many of you have a minimum charge? Like this is it. This is it. Back in the 80s and 90s, it was $250 to me. Didn't do anything for less than $250. That was it.
Yeah, no, I have a baseline because the admin, a contract or whatever, or it has a certain level that it has to have value.
Yeah. And if you don't have a baseline, then anybody who asks you for anything, you're going to have to go into that let's make it up thing. And I know every one of you guys are photographers, and I know every one of you know exactly what I'm talking about when we get into like make up the fee. Have you ever noticed how photography fees are always in round numbers? No one ever quotes, I think this job's going to be $397.68.
I do that. I don't do pennies, but I never finish in 2 zeros. I do finish in 85, or if it's a product that's in a product thing, I finish in like 88, something.
When you go to bid, you're
65.
When you go to bid, that would be cool because you're going to be an anomaly. And if that'll help people remember you, right?
Yeah, no, and it's funny. Our real estate agent, when we bought this place, had her own, magic sets of numbers for bid encounter, and she promised us that it would really limit the back and forth, and it did. She did a bid over them. They countered. She bid again. It was something like, I don't know, $1,384 more, or some weird number, and they gave up real fast.
Yeah,
and it wasn't a very big difference. She didn't go over by much. Just it confuses them, or I don't know. But
no, there's psychology behind it. That's why everything on the internet's $27, $47, $97.
Yeah.
Those numbers are not random. They're chosen. 27.
No, they are.
Yeah. And you'll notice that I priced mine at $127. I'm not going to buck the system. It works. There's a, what I've read is that the psychology is they look at it as $47 and they think, why didn't they make it 50? I guess they're trying to get, the best value for me that they possibly can. I'm like, okay, I'll take that. I don't know if that's the case, but yeah. Just
So,
like almost everybody who sells anything has 3 levels, right? The silver, the gold, and the platinum. You make all your money on the gold. A lot of people won't buy the cheapest. Few people buy the highest. Everybody goes to the middle. If you only have 2 pricing things that you're selling, there is no middle. You always want to have 3. For photography, what we're doing, we don't have that usually, but we're going to talk about a way here in a minute where that may be of value. So you should have a minimum. I have a minimum now, and I don't shoot all that often right now, but I'm looking forward to doing it a little more, is $500. That's like, an hour or whatever, it's $500. I'm not shooting it for $500. You know what my next lowest fee is? Who knows? Don, what's my next lowest fee?
Below? You mean right above it?
No, below it. But from high 500, where does it go?
It'll be free. It'll be a trade. It'll be a gift.
Yeah, it's free. It's a gift. I'll do it for fun, whatever. 500 or free. I'm not going to lower it to 200 because then 200 is now my new base, right?
Yep.
500 free.
Yeah.
So Don, and one of the things that we discussed in one of our meetings about how to, when someone puts you on the spot and says, you're going to give me a price, you're going to give me a price. And the technique of saying the high number first.
Oh, yes.
That's brilliant. I look, it's $8,500 to $5,000.
Yeah.
The psychology of that's pretty interesting.
It's called anchoring.
Yeah, it's really.
If you anchor them at $4,000 and you say, okay, well, it could run from $4,000 to $8,000. All of your clients, including us, we're not immune to that.
Right.
We're thinking, okay, 4,000 is, I don't want to spend a lot of money. Maybe I'll head to the 4,000. But if you say, well, we've done jobs as big as 8,000 and for as little as 4,000. We've now anchored $8,000 as where they want to be. They still may come in at 5, but you're going to anchor them at 8. Always use the highest number first. It's hard for us, got to form a habit by saying it every day, high number first, until it's entrenched in your brain, because most of us don't do it. We've always done it the other way. Flip that.
Great
High number first. Yep. Never give them a price off the top of your head because it looks like you made it up. So if you're on the phone with them, get as much information as you need. And then say either you'll call them back, or if that's not possible, you say, can you give me a minute? And do some calculations, add another number, because you want them to feel that you gave them a number instead of they go, so we're looking at doing this job and it's going to be there. Oh yeah, we'll do it for 6,000. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is like, oh, I only got 4. And they're like, all right, I'll do it for 4. When we talk about bidding, we're going to talk about that. Whatever you quote for your fee, never back down from it unless they back down from what they want. All the other numbers that we're going to talk about, all those other numbers can be fudged and changed and worked with. But if your shoot fee is $3,000, stick to that. Otherwise, why did you give them the number to begin with? You just threw it out there and they go, well, we only got 2. And you go, okay, I'll do it for 2. Then why did you tell them 3? If you'll do it for 2, why did you tell them 3? Wouldn't you feel, how would you feel if you walked in and the mechanic said, yeah, I can take care of that car for you there, Mr. Walker? Yep, I got it. How much is it going to be? Oh, about $4,000. Oh man, I only got about $3,000. Okay, I can do it for $3,000. Well, what are you either going to do a cheaper job, or why did you give me $4,000? Watch out for that. Mom and pop businesses versus large corporations, they don't pay the same for the same quality of work, but you do the same quality of work for both. Every job you do is a $10,000 job. I never want to hear any of you guys say the words, they didn't pay me enough to do a good job. And I've heard it out of people's mouths, and it infuriates me. They paid you what you said you'd do it for. They didn't pay for a second-rate job. They paid, you agreed to it. If you agreed to it, give them the best job you can. That does not mean if you're only going to have you have $1,000 job that you're going to pull out $750 to go get a highboy or a crane to get that shot. No, I'm not talking about that. That's you spending your money to give them what they need. They need to pay for that. But under the circumstances they give you, you do the best job you possibly can because you agreed to it. Entry level, medium level clients. Have you got 10 of them? Some of you have been in business for a while. You should have 10 of these clients. Absolutely. You should have 10 clients that are identified that you can go after. These would be companies that would be giving you more than 1 day of work a year. Find them. Sample list. I'm not going to read them all, but you can see them there, from small manufacturings to local ad agencies to event planners, web companies. They're out there, and they should all be people that you're marketing to. We've already talked about your channels. I can tell you that nothing works like a solid marketing plan, and if you don't market, nothing happens. So don't worry about marketing. If you don't do it, nothing happens. You think about that, you get the drift of it. You don't market, you don't get anything. Marketing can be for everything from how you dress, and I think all of you should think about how you dress in your wardrobe. Why is it we see rock stars? What's that guy with wears the top hat with the dreadlocks? What is it?
Oh, Johnny Depp.
Yeah, Johnny Depp. That's marketing, folks. It's in your face marketing. Why? Because he wants to be remembered. Steven Tyler. Steven Tyler is like 70-something years old. He dresses like a 20-year-old rock star. Why? Because it's his brand. I wore all black. And I'll tell you, there were times when people would tell me, oh, yeah, you're the guy in black. They were talking about you. Yeah, the guy in black. Works for me. Care how they remember me. Works for me. Guy in black. So think about it. Even if you have to just go out and get a shooting outfit. Maybe it's, I used to wear a white shirt and black chinos for a number of years. And I always looked good. I always looked great, but it was kind of like when I shot, that's what I wore. My assistants wore jeans and white shirts, T-shirts. We ended up getting some polo shirts embroidered and stuff like that, but always looked good. Yet part of your brand. So I can tell you that everything you do is part of that brand that you put out in front of clients. And it's so, so important. Questions?
Do you ever ask, what's your budget?
Yes, absolutely.
You open with that or you don't?
If they're sort of hemming and hawing, or if they're giving me something that, they're saying, okay, well, let's just give an example. Hi, Don, we're looking at doing this shoot. We have some products that need to be shot. What's my next question? What kind of products?
Yeah.
Are they
How big,
are they these? Or are they, Kenworth trucks? They're products too. I want to know what you need and then how many you need. I'll go, well, we need, 3 shots of these here. Okay, sorry, get it in front of my face. We need 3 shots of these. Does that mean you need 3 shots of 3 of these? Or do you need 3 shots of each one? So questions. if they sound like they don't, really know, and if any of you are on those places where you can put yourself up there and you can bid for jobs or whatever, you'll find this happens. The more specific they are, the more professional they are, and they've dealt with this business before. If they're hemming and hawing and trying to figure out off the top, right then that they're not sophisticated. So you're going to have to help them out. But in the end, you need to know how big the items are, how many photographs they want, and what they think they're going to pay for them. And you say, look, there's 3 ways I can shoot these things. I can charge you from $800 a piece down to $200 a piece. But I need to know exactly, what do you want to spend? Because I can't do a $200 shot for $800. I mean, I can do an $800 for $200. Oh, what do you mean? Well, I can put these on white for Amazon. I can make them look really, really good for $200 a piece. That's $600 per unit, $200 per shot, 3 shots each unit. Well, that's okay. Well, what do I get for $800? Well, for $800, we can put it on multiple backgrounds. I'll give you a blue, red, green, yellow, your brand colors, whatever on the background. We'll float it in the air. We'll have, fishing line, so we'll be able to get it, and you can use that picture for anything you want, everything from web to ads. Now that's $800 a shot, $2,400 per unit. Find out where they are. Sometimes you find out that they wanted to spend about $20, and you want that gone real quick.
But you want to know right away, so you can make it go away.
Yeah, you don't want to spend any more time on the phone or any more time emailing. So between $800 and $200. What's your budget? Where can we fit this in to make sure you get what you want? Never talk about you. Like, I want to make sure there's enough money in this to, no. I want to make sure you get what you want. You are the priority, your job, your earpiece. This is the priority. We want to make sure we get this done, and we want you to sell 10%, 20%, 30% more of these because of our photography. A photographer, a good friend of mine who shared space with me for a while, Dave, a lot of hotels. He's a really good hotel photographer. He did all the new pictures for a brochure and the online website for a hotel down near the airport here, down near Sky Harbor. Turns out that the owner of that hotel, or the manager, was good friends with the manager of the hotel next door. So the manager of the hotel next door calls him up and says, I love what you did at the hotel. I want to do the same thing. How much is it? He said, well, I charged him $1,000 a room, $1,000 a shot. We did 12 shots. And he said, oh, that's a lot of money. That's a lot. So Dave, thinking quickly, said, well, let me ask you a question. What's your profit per room? Your profit per room. He said profit per room is about $60. He said, how many more rooms do you think your buddy's going to get from those photographs than you? Oh, he said, he's easily going to 15, 20 new bookings a night. Okay, let's say he gets 10 bookings a night, $600 more. Times 10, that's $6,000. Right? No, gets 10 more, $60 more, $600 a night. In 10 nights, that's $6,000. In 20 nights, that's $12,000. The hotel guy goes,
12 room.
You're right, let's book it. See, they thought of the $12,000 as being, really expensive. But when you show them that the value is going to pay for itself in a month with their own numbers, not made up stuff, their own numbers, there's places where you can look this up, Adweek, Ad Age, They have lots of stuff showing that good photography sells more stuff. Amazon has when you go to sell stuff on Amazon, has a whole 3 or 4 pages on how to shoot the stuff because it sells more. eBay has the same thing. This is what you should do to sell your stuff. They have a vested interest in you selling that stuff because they get a part of it. And
Yeah, and
know
there's
exactly what
there's another thing that I can't remember where I got this, but research has shown that if people believe they're going to get, I can't remember if it's 2.4 or 2.6 times their cost, that's the tipping point for them to go do something. So if you can say they're going to get 3x, it sort of becomes a no-brainer if that's how they feel. Now, it's a little more difficult if you're trading time for value,
right?
But if you're trading profit, like these kinds of companies, then if they can just see, yeah, I'm going to get 3x, then it sort of becomes a no-brainer, with the exception being if they think they can go to 3 different places, they'll pick which one. But the idea of whether they should go forward or not is done for them if you've got a 3x return. And everything past that is like, oh my God, it'd be stupid not to do this.
Yeah, but I think that was to me, that was the genius of what Dave did, because what he did was he made them use their own numbers. How much more, what's your profit, and how many more do you think you'll sell with this new photography? That's the key. That's their numbers. You didn't come back and say, look, I think you'll make $10,000 more a month with that, because that makes them, have them use their own numbers. How many of these do you currently sell, sir? Well, I sell, 1,000 of them online. You want new photographs. What's your expectations for the photographs? They're going to give you an expectation. They're not just doing it like, oh, I don't know, we just want new pictures. They have an idea. What's your expectation? Then run the math. How many of you have ever bought something and taken 3 months to pay for it? I have. Anybody else?
Very rarely.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Your clients will do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you can set them up on Stripe. It's a contract. If they balk and don't pay for it, in your contract it says if they don't pay for it, they can't use it. If they've already used it, you're going to go to small claims court and triple whatever they said they were going to pay. So it's a done deal. It's not, unless they go out of business and, close up in the middle of the night and leave, you're going to get paid. Why not?
We set up
Sometimes $3,000 right now for Bob's bed and breakfast might be a little tough for them, but $1,000 a month for 3 months, you do that. You'll sell more.
we set up payment plans for our portrait clients as well.
Mm-hmm.
We sell far more portraits by allowing them to pay over time, just 3, 4, 5 different payments.
Absolutely. And that's consumer work, right?
Yes.
A small business is no different. It's still mom and pop running that little business. Now you're not going to offer Taco Bell a deal, because Taco Bell's got an ad agency. They've got money. But if it's a restaurant or whatever, and they're going, oh man, we'd really like to do this, we can't afford it, they may not be able to pull up $3,000 right now. It might be iffy, but they can certainly manage $1,000 a month for 3 months. Always make sure you get a deposit, and always make sure your deposit covers any expenses that you may occur. So in other words, if something goes south, you can't lose money. That's not going to happen.
You get all you're out of pocket.
Yeah, anything out of pocket that you're going to do, it's got to cover that. I would say offer your clients, and we do it in the web. I've been doing it since I started building websites way back when AOL was the number one place. You got a 50% up front, 25% when the designs were finished, and 25% when it launched. I'd be happy to do that with photography, or I'll break it into 3 even. Easy.
Have you seen that available with e-commerce platforms for people buying fine art?
I haven't seen it with fine art. I don't know why it wouldn't work. It's basically just,
I'm
I'm seeing it.
yeah,
Yeah, there's
I'm wondering. Well, because what I've been doing is different, right? I haven't been selling inexpensive things. I've only been selling expensive things. So
Mhm.
as I play with advertising, I'm getting some clicks, not a ton yet because I've just been experimenting with it.
Hey, Don,
But I haven't had any purchases yet.
what do you
But
consider expensive? What's that price point?
well, so everything's between $300 and $400 for an unframed wildlife print, which is pretty high. Now it's a limited edition, but wildlife prints are, not generally like even the guys in the big galleries, they don't tend to sell them for so much. But they're 16 by 24. It's holiday time, right? It's a good time to buy a special gift, but you're gonna have to buy it, you'll probably frame it. You're in for a fair amount for a gift. So if it could be on a payment plan, that might help.
I think you're right.
everything on eBay is available on a payment plan. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yep. They got their own thing. Plus, there's somewhere on the internet, and I'm drawing a blank, but I bet someone knows about it. There's a thing, and they have it on so many online stores. Want 3 easy payments? Click here. And you can get
Yeah.
3 easy payments, and I think they get something like 20% interest or something if you do it, but all the time. My daughter, who is not sitting there right now, she works for Synchrony. Synchrony will finance your medical stuff. Pretty much, they're with vets, they're in hospitals, they're in dentist office and everything. If you don't have the money, a lot of people, you go down and get some dental work done, maybe it's $1,500, and you're thinking, yeah, I got it, but it's going to make me real short. Synchrony will step in and say, hey, we'll put it on a Synchrony card. It's not a credit card, it's a Synchrony card. We'll pay your dental, you pay us back 15% interest in 3 months or 5 months, or you pay a little more interest, or a year, you pay a little more interest. But they're doing it everywhere. They're a huge company. So that idea is deeply entrenched in a lot of small businesses. I know a lot of small businesses get their supplies that way. So yeah, why not? I can't think of any reason that you should not be able to close a deal with a client.
Yeah, no, I just
They
wondered
say,
whether
well, we want to pay you
mechanically.
$20 a month for 8 years. No, we're not going to do that. But
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look and see if I can, get that out of the Squarespace space e-commerce, but or how to do it myself if yeah, I'll have to look at it.
you can do it with
Don.
PayPal. You can do it with Stripe.
Okay.
Yeah. What's that, Tracy?
So I did a big shoot for like a corporate food shoot,
Mm-hmm.
and then I couldn't ask them for like 50% down because it goes through all their
Sure.
financial stuff. So that would be like a time when it's not really appropriate.
If they make it impossible to do that, then you just go ahead and do it. But ad agencies will give you some money up front, but it may not be 50%. But some corporations won't, because they've got this complicated, it has to go to this person and be signed off, and that person, and that's how they
Yeah.
get the money. So yeah, if they can't, don't turn the job down. Just
I did.
just be aware that you do run a little risk. If it's a great big corporation, probably not that much, right? So
Yeah. Okay.
yeah. By the way, here's a little trick also. Every corporation that I know of in America has, and the accounting department has a rule: if the vendor offers you a discount, you have to take it. You know that?
Well, that works well, I'm going to tell you.
If you offer a discount, they have to take it. So if you offer a discount, you said them, because they're going to try to wait 30 days to pay you. And some of these clowns wait 30 days to tell you that, gee, they misplaced your invoice. Could you send it again to get another 30 days? Your money is drawing interest. So what you do is on your invoice, you give them a 1% discount for paying within 15 days. They have to take it.
The 1 net 10 is a magic number.
Yep. 1 net 10. Yep. Get it paid. So be aware of it. I'll spend 1%. to get my money fast because I want to draw interest on that money, not them. So.
And then eliminate the headache too.
Oh, yes.
You know, making collections go away, well worth the effort.
Yep.
I just have a question.
Sure.
Hello. Just I'll need to go in a little bit, but just a quick question. I'm sorry that it's a slightly different topic. This site that you told us about yesterday, workbook, yeah, the where they list professionals working in your area, are there any others like it out there?
Yes, I'll give you another one. At Edge.
Sorry?
At Edge. ATEDGE. At Edge.
ATED at Edge. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Let me double check and make sure there's not a hyphen.
Okay, it's fine. There is a hyphen. I found it.
Yeah,
okay, gotcha.
There's a hyphen. At dash Edge.
Okay.
This was a gentleman who was a rep, and then he created this little business here. I have 2 photographers that I worked with that were at Edge, and it's also very expensive, $900, $1,200 a month, something like that. And they also go out and try to find you work. So it's an online site where you can go see stuff, but it's also they rep it. They rep it.
How much does it cost to be on Wonder workbook rather? Sorry.
Workbook is $1,500 a month, something like that.
1,500 a month. Wow. Okay. So not cheap. Okay.
Yeah. There's a place called Wonderful Machine out there.
Wonderful Machine.
Wonderful Machine. I won't say anything negative about Wonderful Machine, but I'm not going to give you any false hope. Wonderful Machine, you pay them to rep you, but I just don't know where they're repping. At Edge won't take you if you can't afford the $1,500 a month or the $1,200 a month. They won't take you. They're not gonna, they said, like he said, their mission is we're not bankrupting you. If you can afford it, we'll make you more money. But if if you're going like, oh gee, I have to mortgage the house and not pay for my kids' braces to do that, you're not making enough to be there. And if you're not making enough to be there, they don't need to rep you.
Right. So you already need to be making a certain amount to
right. The best way to get a rep is to train your own.
Okay.
You got a girlfriend? A buddy?
Me?
Yeah.
I have a wife and 2 kids.
Is she a good salesperson?
Well, no, she's a lawyer. We're not good. I'm a lawyer as well, so we're not good salespeople. Trust me.
Best rep I ever had was my wife. She repped me for 8 months. We both agreed she was the best rep I ever had, but I don't want to work with my wife. And she didn't want to work with me. So
that is a good, good idea. Well, good way to stay married. Good way to keep her as a wife.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Here we go. Smart bidding. Big part of our business is bidding. Smart bidding. The power of a professional bid. Your bid shows everything about your work. If your bid is sloppy, your work is sloppy. If your bid is meticulous, you're meticulous. Your bid gives you, your bid sheet, your form, gives your client a glimpse into how you work. Make it neat, make it as clean as possible. If you're so inclined, hire somebody from Fiverr to design your bid sheet so it's got your logo and it looks good and it looks modern. It's worth $50 to do it. It's worth 100 times that. Create a price list. You should have basic gig pricing. What's a headshot cost? You shouldn't have to look it up. You shouldn't have to make it out of thin air. It should be right there. You should have basic.
Hey,
what's a drop in drop cost? What's that?
So back to the nicely designed bids. Do you have 1 or 2 that you're really enamored with that you could share? If not now, later on.
Yeah, there's some beautiful ones at Creative Market.
Okay.
Yeah, really delightful. You can either print them out and use printed stuff, or you turn them into a PDF, an active PDF, so you can fill it out, and send it. Yeah, some really, really lovely things to do. Yep. You should have drop and pop. What's a drop and pop? Well, it's, you take the thing, you put it on white seamless and you shoot it. Okay. You should have a drop and pop price. You should have already in your pricing the discount for multiples. So in other words, if they bring you 5 drop and pops, they might be $50 a piece. If they bring you 100 drop and pops, they might be $18 a piece. Work that out now so you don't have to work it out later. And you can just quote that thing. It's a drop and pop. Here's your price. Anything that can be repeatable, that's just done again and again. This is not a day rate. This is not like, oh, every job you do is going to be the same money. We're just talking about those headshots, drop and pops, product shot, bottle shot. They need, wine bottles shot. Just get a price, get it down, write it down, and stick it right next to your desk so you can do it. Grip and grin. I don't recommend you do grip and grin, but of course some people do. That grip and grin's events. So have your rate, have your hourly rate if that's what you're going to do. Headshots, PR portraits, have it. Your minimum rate for time or image. For me, it's 1 hour shoot at $350. I wrote this a while ago. It's now $500. Travel expenses are added when necessary. I don't charge for travel at anything under 50 miles. You can make your own decision on that. But if it's under 50 miles, I don't charge for travel. If it's over 50 miles, I only charge for the miles over 50. So if I have to go to Tucson, they're gonna pay me for about 65 miles because it's 115 miles at Tucson. Your hourly plus additional. Hourly is your time, just your time. Everything else is additional, and you have to make sure they understand that, how that works for them. So your hourly is your shooting time, not anything else. Some photographers charge for storage, They charge for their digital files to be storage, and they charge a retrieval price to pull those out of storage. So however you want to work, figure it out, get it down now before you start to have to need it. And itemize the processes you're going to do so that there are no surprises for your clients. Drop and pops, on seamless, same background. True story, photographer was griping at me one day at an ASMP meeting. He said, oh yeah, this guy called and he wanted me to do drop and pops. He said he had a bunch of stuff and I gave him a price of $50 a piece. And I said, oh, how many were there? He said, oh, it's like 10,000 things. And I'm like, so you think this guy's going to spend $5 million shooting crap that he imports from China? Well, that's $50. It's a product shot. So let's run the numbers, shall we? Let's say it's $5 and he's got 10,000. Anybody want to put that? $50,000, right? Pretty good job. You could hire some kid from ASU to stand there at the thing. You could crank out those 10,000 wait a minute. No, it's $500,000. It's $500,000. You could crank those things out fast in a month. But some people don't learn. Yeah, it's $500,000. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Those things you're going to end up with prices on some big things like that at $18 a pop. Yeah, if they have 100 of them, and you could, 100 drop-in pops take you about 3 hours, maybe. And what's it worth to them? Probably not very much because it's drop-in pops. So how you work it out, get it ready. Headshots, PR stuff. They will ask you for a quote. You've got to have your quote numbers there too. For are you going to use a makeup artist? Are you going to have a hairstylist or wardrobe? Boom, boom, boom. And these numbers. You give them a range so that you're either going to use Katie or Bob or Linda. And their average range is about the same, so that you can give them back a quote. How many headshots can you do within an hour? Now I'm not going to ask Robert because Robert probably knows the answer. How many corporate headshots do you think you can do in an hour?
How many subjects per hour?
Yeah, they need a corporate headshot. They need a guy like this looking at you on a white.
I'd say 8 if they have their shit together and like shoot 8 if they have their shit together and 2 if they don't.
You can do 100 in an hour.
Yeah, you can, if you have your lighting down and the same setup.
Because I've done it, and I allowed 10 minutes per person. You know how much time we spent per person? About 45 to 60 seconds, because they were busy. They all came in, they sat down, click, 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 click. These are secretaries and corporate people. How long are you going to keep them there? 15 minutes? Now, if it's an editorial portrait, certainly you're going to go find a place, do a lighting test and all that stuff. But just corporate headshots, you can crank through those things really fast. So be very careful that you don't give that stuff away. So you go, well, I'll be there 2 hours and I'm going to shoot 80 headshots, so I'll charge you $250. Bull.
Yeah.
That you're gonna charge about four grand. Easy. The fact that it only takes 15 or 20 seconds per person is not important. It's the value of the photograph that's important. So keep that in mind. You can blaze for that stuff. We ended up we stood around for hours just waiting for people.
After that, you have to pick which ones you keep and maybe some editing, but so there's work after that.
That you work that out with your client. Sometimes the client says, just give us a gallery, and you put up a gallery. I take out anything where the person is, they're drooling or looking to the side. Anything that's obviously bad, I take that out. And then we put up the gallery, and then we retouch to the ones that they chose. And sometimes they'll just say, you pick the best ones and send them to us. Either way, they bought them, so that's fine. What happens if they say we want the files?
Put a number on it.
I'm happily going to give them to them.
Yeah, what are you going to do with them anyway?
Rock on, folks. You all sit there and retouch 80 freaking headshots.
Yep.
I don't need the money that bad, because you can't charge great rates for that. Your retouching is always additional, except for color correct, sharpen, and any horizons that need to be adjusted if you're doing any kind of landscape. That's included. Color correction, sharpening, and horizon. Everything on top of that, taking out telephone poles, fixing eyeballs, whatever, that's extra.
Do you recommend outsourcing of the retouching?
On headshots and stuff like that? Absolutely. Yeah. Stephanie Spencer is one of my photographers down in the Tucson area, and she's constantly getting these big, shoot 300 people, shoot 80 people things. And what drives her crazy isn't so much the retouching. She's really good with lighting, so there's not a whole lot of retouching needed, right? She's really good with the lighting. It's not that, it's the fact that she does tend to shoot a lot. And then you sit down, after this shoot, and you sit down and you open it up and you got 2,800 files to go through. And you sit there going from one to the next. She goes, screw this. She found a company in Malaysia. They actually go through and pick the best shots for her. So she just uploads the files to them. They send the files back to her, retouch. These are the best ones. And so far, never had a problem. So that's something to think of too. I'll get that name and post it on the page here. Stephanie.
Yeah, she hasn't been showing up in the mentor group lately.
She's busy. Yeah, she just did another great big job for the power company down there. Another big one.
Yeah, I bought the calibration.
She's just happy. She's just enjoying time with her husband right now.
Yeah, I bought a calibration card for colors, and it's amazing. Yeah, to get a profile for my cameras, I bought an X-Rite color chart.
Yep.
Yeah, just.
And all you have to do is that one image in Lightroom or on Capture One. Just do the first image, get it nailed in, and just apply it to every other image, and you're done. Because you didn't change the lighting. So.
Yeah, absolutely, it's fantastic.
More complex bids. This is where things get crazy, when someone contacts you and they've got a really detailed bid. Carla in South Africa got a bid from a company. They wanted her to shoot these hotels with this new brand of gin. And the bid was complex. It was about 3 pages. We need this, and this, and this is how we need to have this done. It was incredible. We ended up with, I think we ended up billing them about $18,000, not counting her travel. She had to fly from where she was in South Africa down to Cape Town to do the shoot. When she got there, the ad agency was so disorganized that she spent another day there, had to bill them another day. Just crazy. But it was a great job. She specializes in gin. And by the way, she sent me this book. This is her gin book. This is her personal project that she did. I'm trying to do this. Absolutely stunning. She went to all the gin manufacturers in South Africa, and they gave her their favorite drink and a bottle of gin to photograph for the gin book. And absolutely none of them asked for the gin back. So she has about 120 bottles of custom, crafted gin, and she doesn't drink gin. So when you get those complicated ones, it's pucker time. It's really kind of scary. Don't panic. These rates were pulled from Rosh Siller's 2019 thing, charging for photography. This is North America rates. Rosh doesn't do this anymore. I don't know what happened to him. He sort of dropped off the planet when COVID came, but these give you an idea of how to bid. I bid per image. I rarely bid per day rate, although I know in my head what my day rate is. Okay, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Kind of decided that if I'm going to shoot for a day, I want to make $2,500, for instance. Okay, so if I want to make $2,500, and they come to me, these numbers I'm sure are older. They come to me and they go, okay, we want you to shoot these pictures here of this furniture. Okay, so I make a calculation. How many shots can I do in a day? Well, I want to do 500 per hour. So I go, okay, it's $500 per shot. So I can get to my 2,500. The reason I do it by shot is because they may have another couch to shoot, and I'll make $500. If I do it $500 an hour, I get penalized for being done at 4 o'clock, and they go, oh yeah, let's, for a day rate, I mean, at 5 o'clock, let's do this. So I'll give them per hour or per image, whichever they want. I generally go per image. That way, they know. Say that again, Robert.
Do you put in your contract or your agreement or your proposal that there's a minimum number of shots based on the per image price is based on a minimum X number of shots?
Yeah, anything under 2 shots carries my base with it. Understand? So I put my base price of $500 plus 2 shots at $500 each or whatever it comes to. If it's over that, I'll just 3 shots, for instance, would still be equal to the same $1,500, right? So I'll just do that. Yeah, but my base goes on anything per shot wise under 2 shots. It's just
I guess I was just thinking that if you're doing like coming in and you're doing executives in an office, and you say I'm gonna come into your office and I'm gonna charge X amount per shot, and there's say 7 shots, and you've made your calculated your thing out on the 7 shots, and then you come in and say, well, we decided only to do 5 shots.
That's a problem. That's never happened to me, but
Okay.
it's usually the other way around, Robert. Usually you contract for 5 and they want to do 7.
Okay.
But I've encountered that kind of thing before. So, yeah, you got to be careful about that. The if you could guess about that, then when you're saying you're going to do a dozen, you might say, because you're doing a dozen, I'll give you a price of X, because that gives you the chance to say, well, if they're coming back with a lower number, okay, I can't just divide it, by the number of per shot, because you at least you've established the sort of, I don't know, the subconscious understanding that it wouldn't be this cheap if you did half as many.
Or you
So
put
like
it in- or you put it in
I
your
did that with a
contract.
recent show. Yeah, and we
Put it
in
in
the
your contract
contract
that
as well.
if you've contracted for 7 shots and for some reason there's only 5, you still get paid.
So I
Yeah,
put creative
but
fee
that's
that says up to, this many hours, up to this many shots.
yeah,
And
I think that's good.
And if they all of a sudden they crap together, like, you get a chef that can't get the dishes out or whatever, then you're not going to get penalized for their inefficiency.
Yep. But the first one typically happens before the deal is done. The example he gave is one where they go, well, I don't want to quite do that, so let me ask how much it is for fewer. And so that's why I said I mean, that's the best defense I can think of, is to say, when you give the number, let them know that you're offering them a special deal because they're giving you 12 or what they want 12. That way the conversation is easier to manage if they ask for less.
And you should. And remember, I
Ask for
said,
fewer.
and you should, because if they're giving you a deal, maybe you should do that. But remember, there's a value proposition. So, $300 to $2,000 per image. If you're shooting corporate executives for, Reynolds Aluminum, you're probably going to be closer to this. And that means if you've quoted $10,000 or $2,000 per image because of maybe usage, et cetera, and they've put in 7 headshots, that's a $14,000 day. That's not bad. Or you're shooting 2 cookies for Subway for $16,000. It's not a bad deal. You do have to watch it. It won't happen at the higher numbers, but it could happen at the lower numbers, probably more. They all know, if you're working for bigger companies or ad agencies, they know how it works, and they're probably not going to do that to you. But you're always going to run that risk of they overbooked or somebody got sick. Right. And I would just simply say, maybe you just have to roll with the punches and figure out right there, are you going to stand for that money, or are you going to go, hey, no problem, we'll take that $400 off the shot and we'll catch him next time. But it'll be $600 next time if I have to come out and do it. Right.
Well, I think that's the bigger, that's the point right there. Is I think what everybody's kind of getting at is that making everybody aware that the price is based on X number of people.
Exactly.
If you change that number, it could change how this whole thing's put together.
And this goes back to Don's minimum of 500, but business people understand mobilization and logistic cost, right? Getting you there with your kit, doesn't matter if you're making 1 photo or 20 photos, there's an inherent cost in it. So I just think you're talking business to business people, they'll get you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had this very recently where somebody wanted some headshots and possibly some branding shots, and they only signed up for the headshots initially. But I said, here's the criteria. If you're going to get everybody together, because it's kind of a herding cat situation with them. So I'm not going to be able to do what you said, Don, where you get a factory of thousands of people. I got 7 of them. I said, here's the criteria. If you're comfortable with this, everyone's got to be available so that this can be completed in 60 minutes. And I'm willing to contractually say you get 75. But from the time of the start, if you're willing to commit to that, then I will do up to 7 people. Because if somebody doesn't show, that's not me. But I'll do up to 7 people within this window for this price, and we'll put in the contract that if you ask for, if it has to go over, then there'll be additional cost associated. Like if somebody's busy and I have to stay there longer, there'll be an additional fee, and I put in an hourly rate for hanging around. And she was comfortable with that. She, we talked about it a little bit because I gave a good price to begin with. But I said, you're looking for a good price. It's got to be a teamwork thing. And if we work it together, we'll be done in far less than an hour.
Sure.
We have a very good chance of that, but here's
But
the deal. And I'm
in your situation now, you were doing custom headshots.
Yeah, well, but they all need to look the same. They won't be that different than they'll take a little more energy than what you described, where you do bang, 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 but they won't be complex either because they need to look the same. So, they didn't want hair and makeup people. They wanted to prepare themselves. So I'll just make sure that everything's consistent, in terms of poses and positioning and size and all that, and the lighting's consistent. And we might get it done in 20 minutes if they're all there.
They're gonna fool around with wardrobe and stuff like that.
They'll fool around. But if things, so that's the deal. And already a couple of times they've said, is there any chance we can pick a different day? And this is for January. So I said, well, I can't do this, but I can do that. And I think we now settled. And I also insisted that I get paid, half now. Yep. And so they've already given me the check that I deposited. So I got money, I got a date, and I got limitations and they were not unhappy to do any of these things. They did understand that, I got to drive, half an hour to get there and set up. And I need, I'm going to need some time to set up. So whatever time they pick, they need to give me access, an hour in advance to be able to be ready so that when they're ready, I'm ready and nobody wastes any time. And so we talked about all of it, and it worked out great. Cool. It hasn't happened yet, but those are the ground rules that we both agreed to, and the deposit has already been made and cashed.
Well, one of the things that you're going to come up against are rights. And there's 3 kinds of rights. There's unlimited rights, there's maintained rights, and there's free rights, totally open. You'll end up with talking about buyouts, and then some people say we need your copyright. I will go on record as saying that ain't never happening with me. I am not going to tell you that's a business decision you make, but I took a stand a long time ago. Nobody gets my copyright. I don't care about the money. I just don't do it. They don't get my copyright. They don't need the copyright. So it becomes a pissing contest, and I don't lose pissing contests. They can take shove it. So that's fine. As far as buyouts, you're going to be asked for a buyout. Now, a buyout doesn't mean they get your copyright. It just means that they get to use the image for whatever they want. Most agencies in Phoenix, and I would actually say all, but most agencies in Phoenix now, every time you do a job for them, it is a buyout. And as a former agency owner, I totally understand why they do it, and I would probably be doing the same thing. In the old days, you had print, television, and billboard, and today you have God only knows. And so if you start, you're not careful with your stuff, and all of a sudden a picture goes viral on Facebook, then the photographer walks in and goes, oh, it got 4 million impressions. I need another $180,000 from you for rights. They're not doing that. They're going to play that game. There's too much going on. Big corporations will, because they have armies of lawyers to deal with it. Smaller companies just don't want to go there. Smaller agencies just not going to go there. So buyouts, how much do you get for a buyout? Generally between 2 and 5 times your rate.
In a buyout, right? That still allows you to use the images in your own marketing, and it prohibits them from reselling your.
Right. They can't resell it. They can't, create a stock, their own stock from it or anything like that. It's yours. Now, they can contractually stop you from showing it. They can always write that in the contract because the contract's a contract. They can say, okay, well, we'll give you 4 times the amount of your bid here for the buyout, but you can't show this to anybody. I don't know why they would do that. I'm just saying they have the right to do that in the contract. But
Yeah, a particular job. I got
you
you.
can do anything. If you work for a magazine and you work for agencies, you'll have to deal with something called the blackout or the embargo. In other words, you can't show the picture on your website until the magazine comes out. So they'll give you a date. It's embargoed until the January 30th, and then you can show the picture on your website. That's fine. Small clients are not going to understand rights. I'll tell you that right up front. If you're working for Bob's Bed and Breakfast and it's a good, nice $2,000 or $3,000 shoot, Bob is not going to understand when you come in and start yakking about, okay, well, you probably want a buyout, so we're going to take that $2,000 and make it $6,000. Or here's your pictures, Bob. Remember, 6 months from now, you have to pay me again. They don't do that for anything they've ever owned. A lot of people say, well, you have to educate them. I'm not in the education business. I'm not in the tell people about it. I'm not going to care. I'm going to give them the pictures. They're not going to use them for anything I don't want them to anyway, because I think in 6 months they're going to come back to me. I don't mess with small business. I just don't. Large clients, TV clients, ad agencies, PR firm, they know fully well about rights. Stick with them. They won't balk at it because they're probably going to ask you, what rights do we get, or how can we get more rights, or whatever. They understand how the game's played. If you want to spend time trying to educate Bob, that's up to you. I say, get the job, move on. What are you worried about? You know, that he's going to use the pictures for 4 years. You know, he makes 40 grand off the hotel. Screw it. It's not worth it. That's my opinion. You'll get other opinions, I'm sure. So the additional images that you can get when you don't push this with small business is pretty unique, pretty big. And the rights managed part is harder than you think. If you're going to do rights management, you have to be proactive about it. You can't let it go and then go, okay, well, today I'm going to sue this guy because he's using my picture and he shouldn't use it. He's gone over rights. Because if he looks around and finds other people have used it, or other pictures of yours have been used without you suing them, you're going to have a tougher time. That's A. B, if you think there's anything more costly in the country than suing somebody for copyright violation, you are mistaken. It will cost you tens of thousands of dollars, and no IP attorney is going to fight for anything on contingency, because copyright is iffy and most judges don't know their head from a hole in the ground when it gets to this stuff. The federal courts have now ruled, as of about 18 months ago, 2 years ago maybe, ruled that if your image is not copyrighted at the U.S. Copyright Office, they won't hear the case. So if you want to go down the rights managed thing, do it with the big clients who are happy to do it and not worry about it. On the smaller ones where you can't do anything about it, get more work from them and don't be friction. My opinion. Line item approach. This is really, really, really important, folks. Really important. Line item. Your bid should have as many line items as possible. So your shoot fee is at the top. Shoot fee and expenses. A line item bid allows you to negotiate the whole thing, because any one of those line items can be negotiated, but your shoot fee stays the same. It also helps them understand what's needed, what you're going to do, how you're approaching the job. They can see it there. Think, oh, they forgot you might need a scissor lift. Oh gosh, it's a good thing you have there. It's also a good thing for you to do, so you don't forget that you needed a scissor lift and have to call them at the last minute and go, oh gee, I'm sorry, we need another $600 for a scissor lift. Line item bid shows the client exactly what you plan to do and what it's going to cost. Now, just like this, shoot fee, $5,000. I've line itemed everything out here. Oops, sorry, go back. I've line item everything out here. Everything on here under this 5,000 from assistant down is negotiable. It's negotiable. Assistant 600 for 2 days. Okay. Our director says, hey, I'm a photographer. I'll assist you. Okay, we can take that off. It's fine. Equipment rental, $500. Light stands. Well, you know, I have a friend who's got them. Whatever it comes down to, no problem. Travel for main photographers, $950. I can, you know, if I have to cut that in half, I can do that. I can work with that. Gas vehicle, $350. Hotel, $300. $300 a night, $75 per diem per person. I have never eaten $75 worth of food in my life, so I can cut that back. If it's a good job, I'll eat Burger King. I don't care. You know, all these things are negotiable. So we can take this $12,000 down to about $9,000 and never touch my $5,000 up here. If you just give them one number, you can't do this.
Don, in general, do you offer digital storage for a term, or how, I mean, how long do you maintain, you know, a client project file set?
Project, what do you mean project client files?
So you say you get digital storage there. So I got whatever, I got the suit, I've delivered it
Forever.
I'll hang on to it. I know for my own purposes, but
Only 2 years ago, I threw out all my client files. I'm talking, I had, you know, big manila envelopes with transparencies and billing and stuff from all the way back to like 1974.
Hey, Don.
We're photographers, we keep everything.
but I mean, how long do you maintain a client? Look, I start the job and you're gonna have digital storage for X amount of term. What do you recommend?
I just in perpetuity, I just keep them. I don't give them a date.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Don.
Yeah.
When you offer digital storage, do you have to insure yourself against a loss with that type of product offering?
Well, you should have insurance, but my digital storage is spread out over Backblaze, a RAID system, Apple, Google.
All right, so the chance of losing it all is next to nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But then it is 2023, so.
And that is insurance, just not paid to State Farm.
Exactly. Never touch your fee. This is so important that you learn how to bid the job and hold on to it. The only time you touch your fee is when they come up and they go, well, we needed 10 shots, but you know, now the client's going to go with 8. Okay, you can take that off your fee. But I would tell you the moment that you start going, okay, I can do it for that. That's a real slippery slope. It's very slippery slope. You'll do it again and you'll do it again, and the clients will know that they can do it to you. The most empowered you're ever going to feel is when you say, thank you, I can't do this. There was a guy a long time ago, he wrote a book called The Art of the Deal. I don't know what happened to that guy. Anyway, in The Art of the Deal, Trump says the most important thing to do is to understand that it's okay to not make the deal. You have to be prepared to not make the deal. It's stuck with me ever since I read the book, because if you're not prepared to not do the deal, all you're doing is haggling over their price. That's it. Because you have the leverage. You're gonna end up doing it for what they wanted you to do it. You've got to be able to go, you know, can't do it for that. Stand up. Sorry, guys. I'll see if another photographer can do it for you, but I can't do it for that. That's empowering, folks. Because 9 times out of 10, they'll stop you before you get to the door.
And if they don't, you don't want them.
Well, that's true. If they don't, you don't want them. Line item version 2. Client calls with gig. 12 still life shoots for a high-end brochure. Sounds good. You take down all the information, including the printer being used. This is for a print job. Note the distributions, North America, high-end showrooms, everything. So ask for an example of the shoot. Ask them for an example of what they want. They have to have an example. If they don't have an example, it can get dicey. Make it look more New York. I've had people say that. Make it look more New York. I don't know what that means. What? Pizza sauce? I don't know. Be very careful. Figure out how much time each image. This is what we talked about before. Your hourly images, 6-hour days, $1,500. All of this really makes sense if you just go through it. You've figured out your day rate. Now you're just dividing it out. It's per image approach. Then line in your extra stuff. It's going to take a little bit of doing to figure out how many shots you can do in a day. Mark Lund shoots for a little company, and they pay him $250 per restaurant. And he does about 40 images in there. They allow for 2 hours. He does about 40 images of food. This is crank it out, drop and pop stuff. He sets up his light. He's done it for 2 years. He's fast. He sets up his light, his filler light, gets the camera set up, and they start bringing food out. It just comes out, and he boom, and he boom, and he boom, and he boom. You know, that type of thing. When he got hired by a nice restaurant to do it, he didn't do 40 shots for that restaurant in, an hour and 15 minutes. He spent about 6 hours there. The difference in the work is visible, but I will tell you that the people that he shot for an hour and 15 minutes got really good shots. The restaurant got really, really good shots. But his quality of work was really good. But he charged them $2,000. So the thing about our business is it swings from left to right a lot in the billing. Charge the value of the image. We talked about this through here. The value of the image is what is the value of it? What is the value of it to them? Maybelline's headshot's going to sell 4% more mascara. That could be millions of dollars, for them to pay piddly money for it is crazy. Anytime you have a client who's going to do an ad shoot with you, find out where the ad's going to go and check it out so you have a little bit of ammunition in your pocket to go back to, because would you really want to spend $500 on a photograph that you're going to spend $45,000 in insertion fees a month? Does that make sense to anybody? Because it doesn't to me. They're committing $45,000. Why would you skimp on the thing that is the point of the ad?
Where do you get the insertion fee
Just
price?
go to the magazine and or online magazine or the magazine itself, and click on ad rates. They all have them.
Okay.
Yeah, and you'll have your ad rates there. Find out what the rates are in your town, because the rates in LA are going to be vastly different than they are in San Bernardino. So is the cost of living. New York rates are going to be probably higher than Toledo, and on and on. So you need to know where the rates are in your town. Be middle to high middle, even if you're just starting out, middle to high middle, and then work your way to the top. But don't undercut anybody. Don't ever do that. When you're starting out, if you're undercutting, your biggest person you're hurting is yourself. Because as you try to raise your rates, the clients you've worked before are going to go, well, that's a lot more than you charged me last time. You're better off go ahead and charging them that pretty good. Competitive is 10 to 15%. That's competitive. 50% is just plain stupid. Just don't do that. Don't be crazy. And never worry about money left on the table, ever. Oh, I could have charged more. Maybe. Yeah, maybe you could have made 3 times as much. It doesn't matter. That's yesterday. It's never going to come around again. Let it go. Move on. Learn and move on. I see people, I've talked to photographers just like, oh, I should have charged them more. No. But you didn't. So forget it. Working with magazines, we've talked about this. Not much negotiations with magazines. You can negotiate for expenses and an assistant and stuff, but they're going to go with their bid, or their budget. Make sure they look good, clean, design, minimal if you want, but your stuff should look really, really good. As good as it possibly can. Here's Blink Bids. Bid. It's pretty clean. You know, there's a place where you can put your logo up here if you want. That's pretty darn clean. There's Photo Biz. Nice. Brett Doss's Photo Biz. Got all his things here. Your bid is your contract. So your bid just isn't numbers, it's also all the contract stuff here. In the book that I gave you out, the ultimate guide, there is a contract in there that you can it's a PDF, so you can cut and paste it. It's a good contract, and it'll cover you under pretty much every situation. Most importantly, the contract has the little clause that if they use the picture, they owe you the money, that they no rights transfer until full payment of the invoice. That's your little get out of jail free card. If they print it, they run it on the web or anything, and they haven't paid you, you got them by contract, and you can go to small claims court with that, and they don't have a leg to stand on. This copyright stuff, you can't afford an IP attorney. Most expensive attorneys in the business are IP attorneys. Bid as many gigs as you can. That's why having that bid form set up, Blink Bid, a PDF that you have, having that bids form set up, so if someone asks for one, you can go to it and get it done quickly. It's so important. All right. We can go over. Don't worry about going over. I'm fine with going over. So we want to talk a little bit about, now that you've bid the job, what does that do when you, what happens to that client when you bid the job? Well, number one, they become a hot prospect, whether you get the job or not. Whether you get it or not, they become a hot prospect. We talked about staying in touch with people, your marketing campaign, and how you do it. So here is my marketing campaign in a nutshell. 1 email promotion per month. 1 email promotion per month. And that when I say an email promotion, that is an image or two. I'm going to show you.
Yeah, I was going to say, what kind of promotions are you had success with?
Okay, so where's my? Now it's probably turned off. Oh, here it is. So no, that's not it either. So my flash issue is off for some damn reason. That sucks. All right. So let me show you this real quick. This is built in Google for free.
You are not sharing at the moment. Oh, there we go.
You've got these layouts, and you can customize the font, the color, the picture, everything. These are all built into Google Business. It's pretty cool. My layouts. So you can make one, change it, and then save it, so you don't have to keep changing the other one all the time. You can also, once you're working with the thing, you can edit the layout. So it comes up like this, and you've got all the stuff. I can put an image here. Where is it? How is it I do this? Yeah. I go image. Oh, yeah. I can just upload an image into it, and it'll go into that box. All these things, you can space them out. You can do all kinds of stuff with them. Make 2 columns if you want, but you can build your own email, and then you can save it. I use this when I'm talking to potential mentees or clients. I use one of these, and it makes my email look a whole lot better. And because it's Google, it doesn't go into the spam file. It gets through.
So you'd send out a stylized cold email like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, stylized so it looks good. All right, where's my flash issue? Darn it. Chat GPT writer. I don't need that. I never use that. Why is it on here? Oh well. Sorry about
And
that.
is this email templates that you were just showing us? I mean, is that what category it is under? It's called, it's in under email templates in the Google Docs.
No, this is, I've never used the email templates in Google Docs. I don't know. You could probably use those. I don't know.
What were you grabbing
that.
a moment
This
ago?
is when you're in Google Business, when you get the business account, which I think is like $40 a year or whatever, this appears in
Right.
your email right here.
That's not the start. That's not the Google Starter. I don't have that in the Google Starter Gmail, business Gmail. I think you have to move to the next one that's about $15 a month.
That I don't know. Possibly.
But you're doing your email right out of Google when you do that.
Yep. It's right down
Okay.
here at the bottom.
Okay.
That little guy right there, select the layout.
Okay. Yeah, previously I'd not used the Google. I hadn't composed emails there. I'd done it in Apple Mail, which has Google accounts, but maybe I ought to be looking at this.
Yeah, and I don't know. I would think that Google, it'll work in Apple Mail as well because it's a Google product, not a Chrome product. So
yeah, it's just the tools aren't available when you. So you I think you got to do it out of Google natively to get to the all the things that you're showing there at the bottom of the screen. So there's nothing wrong with that. I just need to do it that way. It's not been my habit. That's all.
oh, my flash issue is no longer in my thing here. So ignore everything I said about flash issue. Maybe they're not in business anymore. Used to be so again, it was something that only worked in Google. Oh, here it is. Oh, pricing. They go for pricing? Oh, that's what it is. So it used to be free, but now they want $10 a month. Oh, they want $10 for 2 years. Oh, that's not bad. Let me bring the page over. $10 for 2 years isn't bad. But what does it do? It does this kind of thing with templates gallery. I mean, that's right in flash issue. All these things that you can do, and then you can customize each one of them. So not bad. Not bad. And they got bulk emailing too. So you can email like 10 of 20 at a time with it. Just be really careful that you test everything you do.
Yeah.
Test it. Have 2 or 3 people that you can trust to test it and let you know that they got your test, because you can send a test out. So this is a test, let me know. And those 2 or 3 people will let you know whether they got it. Sometimes Google or Gmail slips this stuff into the spam folder or the promotions folder or any of that crap. It will not do that with the Gmail little the Google Business. It goes right to your home thing. That's part of the product. It would be useless if they slipped it in somewhere else. Anyway, all right. I wrote a little thing here on the page. Where is the page? A little thing here. Being older is an asset, because we had a couple people talking about being older. Here's some things where we can actually use it as a plus. It doesn't have to be a negative. Flip the script. You know, you can go and learn photography from some kid who's 25 years old. I bet they don't know as much as I do. They might be really good and they might be very talented. I would never take that away from them. They don't know as much as I do. No possible way. They haven't lived it. So there's some definite perks to being older. Instead of trying to hide from it, and instead of trying to be younger than you are, embrace it and make it part of your marketing program. So 1 email a month, 1 postcard every quarter, print all of your postcards at one time unless you're extremely disciplined and you know for sure that you can maintain keeping that stuff going. There's one thing you don't want to do is start down an email campaign and then just stop sending the or a postcard and stop sending. You're going to send 4 or 5 postcards before they're going to start realizing you're you. So understand that. And that's why the best time to get started in your program, in your marketing, was yesterday. The second best time is today. Don't wait. Build it into your calendar. First and second of every month. First or second of every month. First of the month, people used to pay bills. If you want, that's fine. Second of the month, do your marketing. Get that email out. On month 3, get that postcard out. Or month 1, get that postcard out. However you want to do it. Both. Every quarter a postcard, every month an email, and once a year something a little bit bigger. Something to really engage them. And those only go to your hot leads, those because they're more expensive. You might spend $6, $8 a piece on those. So, you send it to 100 people, that's $800 plus mailing. That's fine. Make sure they're hot leads. All right, who's got something? Who's got questions?
For the cold able, do you use, obviously you cannot use like info@yourdomain.com. You need a real email. That's just going to go into the spam folder. How do you get that? You use Apollo. I've tried Apollo, and it's pretty much a hit or miss for emails, because then you still need to check it against another database to know if it's real or not.
Yeah, most of it you just send it to the person. I mean, you have to do a little digging to find the person.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay.
You have to do a little digging. Hire somebody from Fiverr to give you a list from Montreal. They're going to give you emails, not infos at.
Right. Okay. They'll actually do the research for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely.
That's the best way to go.
Just tell them exactly what you want, and then when you get the list, do some double checking. Make sure that they did it. If they did it wrong, they'll do it again. They're all guaranteed. Everybody has, Fiverr has, we'll do 2 or 3, until it's right. So who else?
Don, how long do we have access to the videos for?
Oh, this will be up for at least 2 years.
Okay, I thought I had read something about 60 days.
At least
or
2 years.
like that.
I mean, my domain is up for, I think I paid for 8 years on the domain. You get a better deal that way. So yeah, I'm not taking this down at all. So it'll be there.
Okay.
I will say this: if you get there and your password doesn't work, send me an email. I may have had a breach or something and have to change the password. And if I do that, I generally put it on the top of the page here. Members, password is changed, send me an email. That way I know it's you.
Now, you mentioned this quarterly mailing. That sounds to me pretty infrequently. Do you think monthly is too much?
Monthly postcard mailing?
Yeah.
No, and I don't. I'm just giving you the bare bones.
Okay, I got you.
Bare bones. You want to go more than that? That's fine. Don't do more than 1 email a month, though.
Right.
That's a little crazy. But yeah, if you want to send a postcard every month, absolutely, knock yourself out. That's not too many. But keeping the price right and keeping the absolute minimum. And of course, my minimum requirement is to contact 3 people a day. Monday through Friday, it's 15 people a week. That's 60 people a month. New contacts, make a new contact 3 times a day. If you do that, you won't believe the return on investment that makes.
Yeah.
Incredibly huge. And if you want to double that, double it. You want to triple that, triple it. I watched a young man teach a class on how he got his web design business going in 6 months. He made 50 calls a day. You want to make 50 calls a day? Knock yourself out. Do it. You're just going to go faster than you even believe possible. He cold called from 9 to noon every day.
Must have a hell of a big list.
He just was going through basically what we would call the phone book, whatever, just a listing of businesses in and around him. He just started doing all the businesses. He's a web designer, started doing all the businesses around him. Took him about 3 weeks before he had to cut that back because he had so many web design projects going on.
Okay. So basically just go to Google, you see a business, pick up the phone, call them.
Yeah.
And have your how would you call it, the scenario you want to tell them, and you go out from there.
Yep. Now he's selling to every business on the planet. We're not. So
Right.
I do believe that if you did 6 calls a day, 3 calls a day works. I guarantee you it works. It just takes a little bit longer, but if you did 6 calls a day, you'd have a job by the end of the month.
Are there some companies that you can't get in with by just visiting and stuff, like McDonald's and stuff? Do you have to go through their corporate?
Yeah. Anything that's a chain, they'll bother with.
Yeah, so
That's,
that'd be like
different, like
Subway.
Chili's or Subway or McDonald's, Burger King. Those are all chains. They
Okay.
all have big ad agencies. It's the mom
Okay.
and pops that need your work.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. All right. So,
Tom, one question on the flash disk. It integrates with your Google Workspace, and not just Gmail. Right?
I'm sorry, say it again.
It integrates with a Google Workspace.
Yeah,
email.
that's what I have. Google Workspace. That's
And
what
not email. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, thanks. I forgot what it was called, but yeah, Google Workspace.
You have to use the second tier, the starter. You don't have all the email options.
Probably not. Did you know if you put a plus at the end of your is it after the Gmail? Is it after the .com? I think it's after the .com. So dongianetti.com plus Smith is deliverable. I can't remember what it is, but you can give out, like if you want to sign up for the New York Times or whatever, and you don't want to get hit with a bunch of spam, you can do something to your Google email address that's a valid email address, and it'll come back to your regular Gmail, but it'll be marked with that different email address you gave them, and then you can just quit it, and you can just throw it in the spam or have it go directly to spam. It's pretty clever.
Yeah, I use that actually. I believe it is a plus at the end. I use that to test out email signups. If you have a sign up form, you can use that.
And it goes after the .com, right?
No, I believe it's not. It's before. It's the name with a plus after it.
Got it.
And
Okay,
it'll
so it'll be
add like a
dongianetti plus test at gmail.com.
Yeah, something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy to search and find the actual because it's a lot of people use it for testing.
Yeah, and you can in your Gmail, you can create a folder and have it go right straight into that folder. And then you can the folder will have a dot or something on it, and you can see that there's mail in it, something like that. I think. I just use it for signing up for stuff. I don't want people to have my regular email address, and then I just, unsubscribe. All right, who else? Any other questions?
Back to that, the Google composing with the templates. So you think you need to be on what level of Google Business to get it? Because I just finally got
Google,
in. I'm not...
Google Workspace is what it is. Google Workspace.
Okay. All right.
I don't think it's very expensive.
I think I've got it, but for some reason I'll keep playing with it.
Well,
For
there's,
some reason, it's not
Don,
giving me.
you
Yeah,
need
Google
business
Workspace
standard.
is rolling it out. So I didn't have it for a while, and then it started populating. There could
Okay.
some design features, but they're rolling
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, it's $6 a month. That's what I have.
You have that one?
Okay.
I don't have the layout thingy at the bottom of the page.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't
Sometimes,
either.
sometimes it takes 24 to 48 hours for it to show up.
Oh, but I've been signed up since July.
Huh.
Yeah, I've been signed up for years.
I ran into the same issue, and ultimately it took about 3 months. Then it started populating, and they're rolling it out. So that's why
Okay.
not in every account.
So where do I complain?
That's annoying.
Where do I complain?
I tried getting in touch because, said, hey, well, how do I, Don would describe it, it's probably 6 months ago. I looked at my workspace account. I'm like, I don't have that. And now I do.
Okay. And the function, the little tab button, what's it called if I go harass them?
Templates.
Or templates. Okay. And it's
template.
at the bottom of it. Compose. When you hit compose on your email, you get templates. Okay.
I have a thing here. It says save draft as template, but I don't have like create template. There's no way to create the freaking template. It's just plain text. The
Tab is actually labeled select a layout.
Yeah, I don't have
what it
select
says,
layout.
select layout.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, it's not here.
Yeah, select layout right here,
yeah.
and then you get that. So
Yeah, you've got a much bigger bar at the bottom
see what I can
with all sorts of extra stuff.
Yeah, what is that?
How do I select the layout in Gmail? Right. Why is there no template option in
No,
settings?
so what happens, you can
Okay,
save.
go to settings, advanced. Don, try this. Go to settings,
Okay.
advanced.
Okay.
Scroll
So
down
settings.
and enable templates.
Oh, all right.
Then you have to save it at the bottom left. There'll be a little save this.
All right. Advanced.
Yeah.
All this stuff is not enabled. I see. So
Yeah.
enable the template. So after you get to settings, it's there's a toolbar across the top, and that's where you'll find the advanced option.
Right. Yeah,
And
I
then
did
you can
that,
enable them.
did that
Okay.
a little while ago. It's yeah.
And well, it's not there yet, but at least I've done that. So maybe it'll take a little while before it shows up.
But yeah, it took.
But that was not checked before. So
took a couple of
something
days
is,
for it to show up in mine.
yeah. Okay. Oh, here's templates. Yeah. So I'm like you. Was it Attila that was saying it's there is something for templates, but it's saved draft as a template or
Mhm.
saved as a new template. So it's not allowing me yet, but maybe it will in another few days.
If you don't, do you have a little 3 buttons that says options, more options on yours?
Yeah, but it doesn't have much in it.
Okay.
So when I click on that, I've got templates as a thing, but it's only deleting one or saving a draft as a template. It's not creating anything.
It doesn't
It's
say
not an
select
option.
template. It says just says
Nah,
template.
it's not there. No, there's nothing to select yet.
All right.
But as has been said here, maybe
Yes,
a couple days.
You use one of their layouts and then save that as a template, and then you'll have a populator drop down list to select from next time you want a template.
Oh, all right. Just make something up and save it.
Yeah, no, like I took a layout and put my logo on it and my colors, and then I saved it as my cold email template.
Okay.
And that's the thing, you can, and whatever, it's your marketing newsletter, monthly marketing newsletter template, or whatever you're gonna do, but once you do the setup, you can save what you work. A layout as a template.
Yeah. Okay. Alrighty.
All right. Anything else, guys? All right, fantastic. Thank you very much for taking the workshop. The rest of you guys, there'll be an email to you with the link for the other things, and we'll see you there this Saturday and next Monday. Bring questions. So as far as your portfolios, we'll just take a look at your website. So that's all you need to do on that. Thank you so much. I'm glad you got something out of it. Please, I would ask if you enjoyed it, you really think you got something out of it, send me a little one paragraph thing if you did, and
Yeah.
I can use that to do
Promote the next thing.
Promote the
Yeah.
next. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming along and keep me abreast of how this stuff helps your business. Really helps me. Take care, folks.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Don.
Yeah, thank you. That was awesome. Yeah.